Something for the weekend?
Hello, everybody. This is Simon Holden, the Sheriff of Tippingham, here for the first ever edition of Something for the Weekend with my very, very special guest, Derek McGovern, former Racing Post sports editor, former Daily Mirror columnist, former Channel 4 and current superb judge of the soccer and shining wit, as they say very carefully. Del Boy, how are you?
I'm very good, even better after that glowing intro. Thank you very much, Simon.
Pleasure, pleasure. And of course, for two big track and field fans, Del, for us to be starting the first Something for the Weekend on National Javelin Days, just a big coup for us. I think we're both very, very pleased, aren't we?
Surely National Javelin Days in September, isn't it?
No, it's today. I just thought I'd throw that out there, Del. You totally ruined that by changing the date, but that's all right. There'll be ample opportunities.
Keep you on your toes, mate.
To refire. Don't you worry about that, Chief. Right, well, I mean, I don't think I've ever looked forward to a Premier League season as much as this one. And quickly, we're going to be here every Friday around 10 a.m. on this Talking Punting channel. So very quickly, folks, if you've not subscribed, do click the notification bell. Then every Friday you will be told that we are in the house. And we're going to look at one or two games every weekend that have taken Derek's fancy. We'll look for the exciting ones. And at time of recording, Derek's selections, I will give the general price on Oddschecker. We're not going to go sneaky with that one firm that's the outlier. We'll give a general price, and then we'll keep and see how we are doing. But, well, the fun starts tonight, Del. You are a Red. I spent 4 happy years at Liverpool University, as you know, and I'm a Blue. Sadly, I lived there for 5, but we are both in team colours here. But, of course, we're going to have to start with tonight. Liverpool entertain Bournemouth. Now, all the preview shows I'm seeing, Del, are saying that we might as well not stage the Premier League, that we might as well just award it to the slot machine and his team. Do you think perhaps there's a little bit of counting chickens going on?
Yeah, too right there are. I mean, I know Liverpool won the league last season, but I thought they were deeply ordinary. How can you say that about a team that won the league by 10 points? Well, I am saying it. I watched them more than anybody last term, and I can count a number of decent performances they had on the fingers of Captain Hook. They were deeply ordinary in my eyes. And I tell you what, last season Liverpool played 38 Premier League games, Simon, and I gave a ruinous tip in 36 of them. It's still a big improvement on the season before, by the way. I keep going. Yeah. I keep trying to beat them. I watch them. I think they're overrated. I keep trying to get them beaten, even though I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm a punter first and foremost. And so when they're playing against teams like Bournemouth tonight and Brighton, I always think they're criminally underpriced. And what happens is Liverpool win, I lose. I'm really surprised anyone takes a blind bit of notice of anything I say these days. But I do think Bournemouth have got a better chance than the bookies' odds imply tonight. I really do. There's a lot of imponderables about Liverpool. And certainly in pre-season, I didn't see much to get worked up about.
Well, terrible sort of cliches. It's very difficult to defend a title. There's one. You could argue that Slot, he's untested because, obviously I'm not the greatest fan of the team, but through gritted teeth, they deserved to win it last year. However, has he been tested through a really bad spell yet? We shall see. Comings and goings. I don't know. I thought there was a lot of games that they reminded me last year of the last Manchester United team that won the league, where at the end of it, people said under Ferguson, how has this team won the league? But they kept winning. They kept finding a way to win. Yeah, exactly. Winners in 92nd, 93rd minutes. We had so many games that happened with that Liverpool. And I think you can only pull the rabbit out of the hat so often playing like that. Exactly. So Bournemouth arrive here with, I suppose, nobody giving them a chance. And let's look at the prices, Del, before we go any further. But like you say, could Liverpool themselves be a tad overconfident? Never mind the fans.
Well, the fans will be. I'm not sure the players will be. You've got to remember, everybody's making a big thing about the players Liverpool have signed. Florian Wirtz, Kirkos, Ekitike. But, I mean, they've lost some good players, Trent Alexander-Arnold's been their most creative force for like 5 years. Yeah. Luis Diaz has gone. In tragic circumstances, Diogo Jota These are top players who aren't there, and the guys who are coming in, the transfer fees suggest, they're going to be top guys, but you never know. You never know. So I don't know. I think there's too many imponderables about them, and I just fancy Bournemouth will spring a surprise. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Simon. Who do you think are the best three teams in Europe last season? You're probably going to say, obviously, PSG, Liverpool, and Real Madrid. Well, Bournemouth have just flogged a defender to each of those teams.
True,
I mean, that's incredible, isn't it, for Bournemouth? I mean, it's incredible they finished only ninth with players like that who've gone to those big teams. So, but Bournemouth, people think they're going to turn up, get beat 3-0 like they did last season. But I was at that game. And I'll tell you what, Bournemouth gave Liverpool a fright. 3-0 sounds like a cakewalk for Liverpool. It wasn't. There's trouble ahead for Liverpool in this first game.
I mean, let's check these prices out. I think Bournemouth, I've got a sort of pack of 3-4 teams in the Premier League when I'm looking at what the bets are going to be. And Bournemouth are in that pack of 3 or 4 where I'd never be completely surprised if they went anywhere and won. But I wouldn't trust them particularly at home when it looks like they're going to be a banker. They're that type of team for me. And of course, the time to bet those teams are when they're huge prices. And there's certainly a huge price. Although I'll tell you what, Del, I thought they might be around 10, 11 to 1. I thought that some of the bookmakers might, puff the cheeks out and try and get Bournemouth. Actually, the opposite has happened. The couple of firms that were going 9, that's disappeared. Even the cleaner didn't get that this morning. 17 to 2 is still available with Betfred. 8 to 1 Unibet. Looking down the line, Liverpool are holding steady at 3s on. Now, of course, the big move will probably be this afternoon. But I don't think Liverpool are going to start, say, 4s on for this. I think, if anything, I wonder if Bournemouth might just be nicked into 13 to 2 before the off with a bit of value seeking. What do you think?
I'm not sure they'll go as short as that. Yeah, I know what you mean, but 10 to 1s are the thing of the past in the Premier League now. All the, teams at the bottom are capable of going anywhere. And when they look at Bournemouth last season, they won at Arsenal. They won at Newcastle.
Yeah.
They scored more goals away from home than they did at home. But then they lost to Leicester, to Ipswich, to Wolves. What's going on? They're the Salman Rushdie of the Premier League. You just can't read them. And I don't know. Sometimes you bet on instinct. You probably go skint long term, but now and again that instinct comes up, and I think they'll spring a surprise. I used to like them, but I don't like them, to be honest, Bournemouth. I liked them when Harry Redknapp was the manager and they got walloped every week. I mean, you knew where you stood with them then. But now, as you say, they're impossible to judge. And the only time you can back them is not when they're 10 to 11 at home to Leicester or someone like that. It's when they're 8 to 1 at a big club. That's the time to catch them right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So the very first something for the weekend selection, Del Boy is going for a huge opening day shock with his beloved Liverpool going down to the Cherries. 8 to 1 Unibet or 17 to 2 Betfred if you want to play. Now, I've got a sneaky feeling that will be shorter tonight. So let's see if I'm right. We'll always begin our episodes with a review of what went on last week. So if Liverpool win 8-0 and
I won't be
Newcastle win 5-0, I hope you enjoy Derek's solo show starting next week. Right, let's head to our second game. It's tomorrow lunchtime. On a slightly separate note, Del, I can't remember a first slate of games that was so exciting right through to Monday night's Everton Leeds. You've got Man U Arsenal on Sunday. And the lunchtime game on the old TNT tomorrow, 12:30 kickoff, is an absolute banger. It's Aston Villa v Newcastle. Now, Sir Keir Starmer's had a better summer than Newcastle. Now, they are not coming here in happy spirits, are they? I mean, the sort of first quiz of the season is where's the striker hiding? He seems to be. We're in the age of the power of the agent, and they're in this real standoff. Are they going to keep Isaac, their top player, or is he going to join your lot? Well, that's going to have a huge impact on Saturday's game, isn't it? So let's start with Newcastle. They arrive absolutely with their chins on the floor, don't they?
Well, in the transfer market, they've been treated like a middle-aged man at a lap dancing club. There's just no one wants to go there. No one wants to touch them. And there's something not quite right. I've spoken to a few mates who live up there, and they're getting strange vibes. I mean, even the manager, he doesn't look like a Premier League manager, Eddie Howe, does he? He looks like a supply teacher being bullied at an inner city comprehensive. It just doesn't give off the right vibes to me. And certainly, with the Isaac situation, that's not going to help anyone. I'm pretty sure he will go to Liverpool. All the signs are there. How can you keep a player at your club with a gob on like that? The incredible sulk. I don't think he'll be playing for them again. I mean, he's still got great players, but this fixture, I've looked back over recent seasons. Whenever Aston Villa play Newcastle, the home team wins, and sometimes wins convincingly. I don't know why that should be. There's hardly a draw in the going back like 5 or 6 years between them. You could say, well, maybe we're due one, but I look at this and I can't be with Newcastle. I have to go with Villa at 6-5, and I love the manager Unai Emery. I think he's great. He looks like Unai Emery. I always think he looks like the guy. He doesn't look like a Premier League manager. He looks like the guy that your missus marries, but just after she's divorced you. And when he sits on the sidelines writing those notes, they're not notes about the game. They're the names of divorcees he's considering marrying. He's got that look about him.
Yeah.
I remember.
Sadly, I recognise 3 names in the list.
I remember when Liverpool played Seville in the UEFA Cup a few years ago. He was a manager, and Liverpool murdered them at half time. Up in the first half. Well clear, and I thought this is going to be the most one-sided European final in history. Second half, Seville come out and murdered Liverpool, and he was the reason. He saw what was going wrong, righted it at half time, and the rest is history. They were much the better team, and since that day, okay, he had a bad time at Arsenal, but everything else he's done has been fantastic. I know I'm always prepared to have a bet on a Unai Emery team.
Yeah, me too. And the thing is, I think when he came to Arsenal, he got like the Moyes, the impossible job, the equivalent, that he was regarded as a bit of an imbecile with all the good evening and all things like that. And actually, he's a very, very clever man. And speaking to a Villa fan who's quite one of those who knows what's going on there, he says he is the only modern day equivalent of Alex Ferguson in that he rules that place with a rod of steel. He has complete control over the whole thing, and if you step out of line, you know it very, very quickly and very sternly from him. Now, the interesting thing about Villa, and I nail my colours, I back them to win the title each way, but still back them to win the title. They're not in the Champions League, Del. I believe if this is the age of the manager and the coach, the fact that he's, I think, the best in the Premier League must count for a lot. I think he'd have a settled team. Yes, they're in Europe, but he's going to put a dummy team out there. And I think they could get on a roll. They rarely lose at home. If he gets that away form going, they could be the surprise package this year. I really, really think he's a very, very clever manager. And, they've had a couple of comings and goings, but I think they're very solid, and they're going to come in tonight, Saturday rather, with a lot of confidence. And it's one of those games, Dal, where if Newcastle go 1 down early, it could be a very long game for them, couldn't it?
Yeah, they look like a team that's feeling sorry for themselves right now. Yeah, and everything you say about Emery is right. One thing, you're going back to the good evening business. He used to make a bit of a dick of himself when he came on the telly like that. When he was looking like he was getting a sack at Arsenal, the away fans, I think it was Brentford fans, sang at him when we were losing against somebody, well, Brentford, obviously. You're getting sacked in the evening.
What were they doing at Man United game?
So I love him. I love the guy. He's great, and it's not. Sometimes you have 5-star bets, don't you? But Villa at 6-5 is not a 5-star bet. It's a little bit too short, but I just can't have Newcastle. So it's a half-star bet. But the Bournemouth game, that's a 7-star bet. Bournemouth Liverpool.
Yeah, too right. The bigger the price, the more you have on. I think if there's going to be a weekend banker for me, it's Villa. And I'd be one of them, especially when you're on them for the title. It'd be one of them where they really need to get off to a flyer and ruffle a few feathers. So he's going to have them ready to rumble.
Villa for the title. Do you not reckon? I think they're not strong enough up front. I don't think Ollie Watkins is a man who wins your titles. I mean, he's a decent player, but it's just that he hasn't got it for me.
He had a bad year last year, but I think his nose was out of joint. I think a peace reigns between the two finally, and I think if he does the business, he'll stay in. That's what he's been told. You see, I think 2 years ago, he looked a man who could contribute to you winning a title. Last year, he looked like somebody who could contribute you to being relegated.
Yeah.
So in terms of, if we get 2 years ago, Ollie Watkins, I think he's a very, very dangerous player. But they've got so much midfield attacking talent as well. That's the thing. They're going to be one of them teams where everybody chips in 10 or 12 goals, aren't they? If they're gonna be in the top 2 or 3. I need them to be in the top 3. Let's be clear. And I think the title race is more wide open than people are giving it credit for. But we'll come to that. So Newcastle to win. Now, the fact you're so sweet on it, is it one of them games where you would dip into the scores or just go, right, I think Villa are going to win? Have them.
Well, I've been you pick up a match, you look at all the correct scores, so on. Both teams to score. And I look at this fixture, thought nailed on. But the bookies think the same. I think it's something like 8-15. I can't remember a both teams to score market ever being as short as that in the Premier League. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's way too short to have a bet. Sometimes when I see a price like that, the bloody mindedness of me makes me think, well, I'm going to go against that. Both teams to score no, and whatever, 74, whatever. But no, I can see it happening. I'm just not prepared to back it at 8-15. It never would be, and nor should anybody. I just think Villa at 6-5. I'm not saying it doesn't scream value to me, to be honest. Of all the games in the Premier League this weekend, this is the toughest. From a betting point of view, I don't see value in it. I see value in Bournemouth. Burnley at Tottenham over the weekend, I think they had a tremendous bet. One or two others, Leeds to beat Everton. This one, if Newcastle were to win, it wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world, would it? Despite what we've said, and we've almost written them off. I just wanted more than 6-5 for Villa. I just think it's a little bit on the tight side, but it's a winner is a winner. Any winner's welcome, apart from Michael Winner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll come on to him another week. A general betting question. I call it the bandwagon bet. It's the the prices come out Monday, Tuesday, the Saturday bet. Everybody goes, that's the one. That's the banker of the week, and that 6-4 turns into 6-5, 11-10. Is it then when you start, like you saying, the bloody mindiness comes in and the swim against the tide? You start to think, well, 6-4, I'm playing now. That banker that everyone's on is 11-10. By definition, the other two prices that are available to you have had to drift. Has it suddenly become a bandwagon bet that's too short? You know what I mean? And you start thinking, swimming against the tide, let's go for the draw, as a wider bit of advice to people.
Yeah, it's a good point. I've done that many times. I've done it. You've missed the boat on. You're thinking, at the beginning of the week, you think, I like the look of that, and you can see it shortening and shortening, and it comes to a stage when you think, I can't touch that now. And the other side, you think, well, if they're a lot shorter now than the bookies thought in the beginning of the week, the away side are going to be bigger, or the home side, whoever it might be. I don't like back and draws, I have to say. I'm just not, I don't know what it is. I'm probably stupid like that because, 1 in every 3 matches finishes in the draw. So 1 in every 3 matches is I'm not backing the draw. I'm going to be on a loser. But I just can't bring myself to do it.
Well, I think football betting is obviously fan driven, but it's also opinion driven. And I think some people feel that betting a draw in a match is almost like them not having an opinion, which is ridiculous, really. They say, right, Liverpool are going to beat Man U. Man U are going to beat Liverpool. Right, there we are. There's our argument. There we are in the pub. And you get a little guy in the corner going, I fancy the draw. Goes,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
corner,
that.
little guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've all got one. So, by all means, I think it's a great bit of advice. If you do miss a price, you can either sulk and roll with it and get on lower, or you can leave it completely. There's always another day, there's always another match. Or you can start to think, well, if the bookies thought something with their very, very good odds compilers was 3-1 at the start of the week, and now I can get nearly 4s, do I want to swim against the tide? So our 2 games feature, we're going to have a look at the outright and the relegation. But our 2 games, Dell's going for Bournemouth to cause a shock, a 7-star bet. Take that 8-1 if you can. And it's Villa time, might be short, 6-5 for Emery to have a very good afternoon. tomorrow on Saturday. Now, Del, you have hinted that your beloved Liverpool, there are certain other Liverpool fans who doubt your colours at times with your negativity. And here you are wearing the lovely royal blue like myself, only adding fuel to the flames. But is it one of those where you're looking at it from that kind of betting viewpoint and thinking, well, it's a title. I'm going to be happy if my team win, but do I need to look elsewhere betting-wise?
Well, yeah, you see, a lot of my mates say, well, how can you back against Liverpool? You know, for instance, like Bournemouth tonight, I'm already on. I think, how can you back? Because if Liverpool lose, you know, you're going to be gutted, aren't you? Well, no, not if I back Bournemouth at 8-1. You know, it's a few bob in my pocket. I'd rather have that than Liverpool get 3 points. What does that make me a Liverpool fan? Well, maybe not in some eyes, but you know, I've been a Liverpool fan since I was a nipper. So yeah, I'm a punter first and a Liverpool fan second, I'd have to admit. But I can see the shortcomings in this Liverpool side. They might turn out to be brilliant. This you know, they've bought you know, Núñez is gone and Diaz is gone, and they've signed Florian Wirtz, they've signed Milos Kerkez rather, satisfying the Premier League, an unwritten Premier League rule that you must have 2 players in your squad whose name ends in Z. They've also got Ekatike, the world's longest palindrome.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, they could be brilliant. It could be brilliant, but there's too many doubts about it for me. There's too many doubts, and I'm making it my policy this season. In fact, I have done the last 3 seasons, and I've been made to be look pretty foolish. But I'm going to be backing teams at big prices every week to beat Liverpool because they're not as good as the odds compilers suggest.
So let's look at the outrights. We've got Liverpool best price 19-10, Arsenal best price 27-10. Oh, these wonderful new prices. Man City, who would have thought we would be sat here a year ago looking at Man City with 7-2 available, and the world club champions Chelsea at 9-1. So let's look at the top 4 there, because the betting goes straight out to 25s, Man U, 50s, Tottenham. So let's say that we've got 4 horses in this particular race. Chelsea are the one that stick out for me as you know, 9-1. I think they're going to be fairly near. They are world club champions. Obviously, that was an invite-only event, so it's got to be viewed with some skepticism. But could Chelsea break into the big time this year, Del?
They've got a real chance, and strangely, because of their Club World Cup triumph, and they were brilliant against PSG in the final, by the way. You know, you've got to think, well, you know, this season didn't end until, like, you know, almost the start of this season. That's got to have an effect. You know, when we get into like November and December, it must have an effect. Okay, they've got enough players there to, you know, to rotate the squad. But a few times I saw them last season, I thought they were a very tidy side. It amazed me that they weren't closer to the title. But it's their long season last season that puts me off them. 9-1. I expect a little bit longer than that, to be honest, because they've got to knock off 3 teams above them who are, you know, they filled the first 3, you know, season after season. So I don't think 9-1 is giving too much away, by the way, for Chelsea.
Well, it's been clipped in the summer, and obviously 2-2 and 5 after the Club World Championship. I think they've reached the price they should be, which means, of course, that you shouldn't bet them because they're no value. But I'm against Liverpool this year. I'm swimming against the tide, and not because I'm an Everton fan like you. I think there's genuine reasons to get after them at that price. Arsenal, I know financially the dangers of believing that phrase, this is the year for Arteta. It could not be the year for Arteta. It could be the year for the bankruptcy courts, for the people who walk around shouting, this is a year for Arsenal. So the last couple of years, they've been so near. There's an element of a Tommy Fleetwood about them, isn't there now? That I just feel that they're going to like mess it up near the end. Man City, I actually think out of the top 3, that Man City, he let that team go on. One of the great things about Fergie, like him or not, was that he knew to be a ruthless butcher and get people out. And I think Pep has let that team get old, but that has sorted itself this summer. They've brought in some new people. They've still got a great front line with Mamouche and Haaland and quality players. I think there's a smidgen of value there at 7-2. What do you think, Del?
No, I'm not having them. I don't see them finishing in the top four. The man who made City tick for so long was De Bruyne. His form went off last season. You know, he fell out with the manager, it seems, and because of that, the City were a shadow of themselves. He's not there. Obviously, he's gone. Guardiola's mind doesn't look on it. I look at the players they've got now, and without Sean of De Bruyne, I don't think, well, how did these dominate for so long? Because, you know, maybe I'm jumping on the bandwagon because they were crap last season, but I just don't see it. I'm backing them not to finish in the top four this season. I think it's something like, was it 5-1? Did I see? I think it's something like that.
Yeah. That has been bet as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'll throw De Bruyne. I'll take De Bruyne, and then I'll throw a fully fit Rodri back at you. I believe 2 years ago was the best central midfielder in the world.
Well, yeah, Rodri's a good player. Good player, I'll give you that. The thing is, though, Simon, you know, again, another reason that, you know, people hate me. Defensive midfield, easiest position on the planet. Easy. You're basically a glorified defender. And you know, in my age now, I could play defensive midfield for anyone. It's so easy. It's the fellas further forward who do all the proper work. The De Bruyne's, people like that. So yeah, Rodri, you can't knock him. Wins all kinds. Win the Ballon d'Or, whatever. But defensive midfielders, nah. Sorry, not having them.
Well, if anyone's interested, email me at the usual number. And Del, I know it's free. It's free most Saturdays. So if you are like looking at some of the promoted teams like Leeds, this could be the answer. So we aim to please. Right. So come on then. Who wins the title at the prices?
Arsenal. Certainties.
Right.
Absolute certainties. Listen, I've seen Arsenal a few times against Liverpool as well, and they've wiped the floor with Liverpool, you know, in recent season. A couple of games in particular, I thought, my God, this is a proper team, this. And every time I watch them, I'm impressed. All they've been crying out for, as every fan has told you, is a decent striker, someone who's going to get them, you know, so many goals. And they've got this new fella now, Gyökeres, or however you pronounce it. He could be the real deal. But they've also got Zubimendi as well, who will probably allow Declan Rice to play a little bit more forward. And he's a proper player as well, Zubimendi. I don't see a weakness in the Arsenal side now. I'm not a fan of the manager. He looks like he colours in his hair with a magic marker. Something about him I don't take to. But I think Arsenal. I think if Arsenal was to play Liverpool now at Wembley, and draw didn't count, bookies give you even money, the two of them in a one-off game, I'd be at Arsenal all day long. I think they're a better team.
Interesting. So, folks, 27-10, the bizarre price. Arsenal for Del Boy to lift the title. I tell you what, if they don't do it, I think he might be out the door, Arteta. So he's probably got more motivation than any other manager to get it over the line this year.
Yeah. Jimmy White of the Premier League, aren't they? Arsenal second the last 3 seasons. I mean, you can't blame them for finishing second when City were steamrolling on everybody. But last season was their big chance, wasn't it? You know,
I agree.
City had gone, and Liverpool to me, they were still a dodge pot, even though they won it by 10 points. That was Arsenal's big season, but they didn't win it because they didn't have a striker that was going to put the goals into them.
Yeah, good point.
Now they have.
Arsenal to overcome Fleetwood syndrome finally this season. Now, Del, we don't do cliches on this show. And one of the sort of cliches of the last 2-3 years has been the 3 teams that come up will be the 3 teams that come down, the gulf in the 2 leagues, blah, blah, blah. Now, is this the season with Burnley under the brilliant Scott Parker, with Sunderland with that huge home crowd, and with Leeds, who, you know, Marmite for many, but maybe not as big a club as some of the fans think, but still a big club who can generate a huge home atmosphere? Could this be the year when the teams who've been getting away with it for a few years maybe go through the trapdoor and possibly 2 of the 3 promoted teams stay up?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what will happen. I think Sunderland will go down. I don't hold that much hope for them. But Leeds and Burnley being at the top level in recent seasons, you know what it's about. Burnley very recently, and I think there are weaknesses in the existing Premier League sides, like Brentford, for instance. They've sold all their best players. They've got the manager's gone. They've got a new manager, Keith Andrews, who he looks like the manager of a boy band. He doesn't look like a Premier League manager. He's had no experience.
Yeah.
I've just
point
can't.
zone, they're called.
Yeah. So I think they'll go. I think Sunderland will go, and you're not going to like this, Simon, but I think Everton at 7-1. What
You're breaking up, Del. You're breaking up.
Am I? Sorry. Yeah, you'll be breaking up when you hear this. 7-1.
Yeah, no, you're not. No, yeah.
Yes,
I'm here all day.
lad. You know what, Simon? I've been trying to get Everton relegated for many seasons now, and they keep staying up. I don't know how, but this time around, they haven't got the Goodison factor, which is a big thing. When you go to Goodison and you can see the venom in the fans' faces, against the opposition. And it counts. Even a Premier League player who's got loads of experience. If he's going for a throw-in and you've got all these snarling, squash-nosed Evertonians on the sidelines hurling abuse at them and their husbands as well, it's going to affect them. But they haven't got that now. They've got a new stadium at wherever it is, Bramley Moor, the Hill Dickinson Stadium. What a stupid name! And a mate of mine who's a big Everton fan, he said they'll go down because on the sidelines where all the snarling fans should be, there's corporate seats where the most vitriolic fans should be. That's going to have a big effect. That plus the fact they've signed nobody of any note. Jack Grealish, come on, is he going to say keep it up? Sorry, no. 7-1 Everton. I think it's a wonderful bet to go down.
Oh, please no.
Sorry, mate.
Please. No, it's fine. I mean, I'm troubled. I am troubled because, of course, I was looking through the stats of the old new season syndrome, and they make for grim reading. I mean, Arsenal fans for years, the gentrification of a club, isn't it? Some of these lower league teams who, like you say, leave these tight, noisy grounds and go to the new place, and suddenly everybody's looking around for a year. Everton cannot afford a bad home season. They need to, I think Moyes has arrived now already outside. They need to hit the ground running here. And the truth of the matter is we just don't know how the new stadium's going to go. I had a little walk around at the outside of it. Very impressive. But we've had this conversation before, Del. Goodison, the old story that the stadium shook. It's true. It did. It was an incredible cauldron. And I think they've made a huge mistake leaving there. I really do. I wish it could have done what your boys have done and redone, but it just wasn't possible, it seems. But I think more than any other team, the first 6 games and those first 3 home games are pivotal for Everton's season, because if they start losing at home, and I also thought it was a very strange press conference from Moyes. I mean, he's not a laugh a minute at the best of times, where he said the week before the new season, he feels he needs 10 new players. Well, that isn't going to rally the troops, is it? I mean, like you say, we've got Grealish on the cusp of the season. It's not one to excite the fans. I just don't see him fitting into the style of play. So with a heavy heart, I can see the point. So I'm going to throw one in at a big price. I think Forest at 9-1 will give you a real run for your money to drop. I think they overachieved last year. The owner is clearly round the twist. He could do anything. He could sack him after one match, 10 or 20. And they're the type who could just sink this year. We saw it with Ipswich once. You remember Ipswich having a real run at it and then going down the next year? And I think Forest could be that. So 2 big prices. I think Burnley might get out of it. And with a heavy heart, I think Leeds might get out of it. You're right. Sunderland have spent a lot of money, but they looked nowhere near the teams that Leeds and Burnley did last year. That would be my worry with them. And it's all right saying we've got 6 new players, but what happens if 4 of them don't work out? Then you're in big trouble. So, we're going to go Everton at 7s, and I'll throw you in Forest at 9s. In a year when the promoted teams, we both think 2 of the 3 are going to stay up unusually. And what we don't want with relegation betting and a relegation battle is 3 teams cut adrift at Christmas. Otherwise, it's no fun for the fans, for them, and it's no fun on betting on the relegation, is it?
No, it isn't. I mean, we've had that really, haven't we? It's been last season. It was pretty clear from a long way out who was going to go down. I don't think that's going to happen this season. I think Leeds and Burnley will give them good account of themselves. I really do. And you say Forest 9-1. I can understand where you're coming from on that one. But it's only 2 points longer than Everton, and there was a big gap between Forest and Everton last season. And I'd rather, to be honest, have a go at Forest by all means, but Everton have got to be the better. How many 7s? That's massive.
Yeah, I suppose so. We shall see on that. So, Del Boy, let's recap quickly what we've just done. Everton to go through the trapdoor in the brand new stadium at 7-1. We've got 6-5 Villa to make Newcastle fans even more depressed than they already are. And the shock tonight, folks, a first something for the weekend edition, and we are going for a shock in the very first game. Get on the 8-1, the Cherries. Bournemouth to make the slot machine cry into his, I don't know what he drinks. It'd be whatever Dutch lager you want to pick. I mean, do we know? Is he an Orangey Boom man or whatever is it known in the area?
Boom, what a name from the past that is.
Yeah, well, my granddad used to drink that.
Yeah. Funnily enough, Sam, just a quick one. I was at a long time ago. I was at a golf day, a bookmaker's golf day years ago, and I won a not because my golf was good, because it was crap. I won a prize, and it was a big swanky magnum of, well, whatever they call it, of wine that costs a few bob, as if I would know. I get $4.90 from Tesco, so I thought, I don't want this. Anyway, some other guy won a best shot of the day. He won a case of Orangey Boom. So naturally, I swapped with him. And you couldn't believe the derision I faced from all these people who knew about wine in the hall. Oh my God! But I enjoyed the Orangey Boom a lot more.
Yeah, well, Arne Slot's probably at the team hotel watching this now, going, he made the right play. I had a swap for the Orangey Boom, but he's going to be crying in it tonight, the old slot machine. So, folks, we've had a fantastic first episode there of Something for the Weekend. Do join us next Friday at 10. I'll be looking at one or two games, seeing how the season's gone, getting a little sideways view at promotion, at winning and relegation. And folks, we are launching the McGuvnor private service. If you look under this video, you will see a link exactly how you can get involved every weekend and get Del Boy's slate for the weekend, including the return of the mighty Maccas. Akaway takes the best bets and puts them into a combo bet. So please do get involved. You get all the information how to get involved with Del on week 1 under this video. So we do hope you can join us in the McGuvnor service. But Del Boy, thank you for joining me. And, well, I never know whether to say good luck. Good luck on the bet. Bad luck to your team or whatever. Just let's hope it's a profitable weekend, put it that way.
Yes, yeah. Fingers crossed. The first weekend of the season is always a little, you've got to, enter it with a little bit of trepidation, but there's some decent bets there.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, one thing's for sure, you're right, just to finish, this weekend, it might not be the shocks you think, but there will be shocks in the Premier League. So be very careful of lumping on at odds on, would be my final thought, because it's only week 1. Right, we'll see you next Friday. Thank you, Del. Have a great week, my friend, and I shall see you next week.
Cheers, Sam.
Something for the weekend?